When we're up to stuff, we eat pizza. Pizza correlates with stuff. Pizza causes stuff. Stuff causes pizza. I don't know. Stuffed crust pizza.
Well, if ChatGPT can't do it, then what makes you think you could do it?
Is still brought to you by Budweiser. It doesn't matter if they're paying me.
Sam Altman can get away with it, okay? He's the best looking guy in tech.
Arrays still cannot be broadcast together.
Wrong on both accounts. Wrong on all accounts. All accounts.
Don't you hate it when that music ends? Oh man, I love the start of this show. Welcome to the Dirty Data Show. I'm your host, Evan Wimpy. If you can't hear me, it's because I'm not holding my prop mic, but now I am holding it. So now you can hear me a loud and a clear. Welcome to the Dirty Data Show, the show where tech is stupid, AI is full of jokes, and we just laugh all about it. I've got two good stories and one insider information. If you can't see, I'm holding up three fingers. That's two plus one to the lay person. I feel like as a data scientist, you sort of got to paint the picture for everybody. So that's where the two plus one came from. Thanks so much for joining today. This is episode 6 of the Dirty Data Show. This is a solo episode, just me ranting and raving. And this show is brought to you by some kind of red wine that was on sale at Costco. I don't know, 2021, the red blend, cheap as shit. Who knows? I don't know, but it's doing pretty good work on me, and it is sponsoring the show today. So thank you, Costco, and your bulk red wine. All right, let's dive right into it. This is recorded on June 19th, Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth if you celebrate. I don't know if you're supposed to celebrate or supposed to commiserate. I don't know what you're supposed to do, but here we're pretty progressive on the Dirty Data Show. So we're doing the right thing, whatever you're supposed to do. We just, we make sure we're toeing the line, doing the right thing. Happy June 19th. This will probably air on June 20th. But the story of the week of the last few weeks has been Apple. Apple, you might know them as the A in Fang or Mang or Mango or whatever the hell you're going with these days. But Apple is a big heavyweight hitter in technology, but maybe a bit behind the eight ball on AI and the large language model, generative text revolution. And so, because they're behind the eight ball, they wrote a scathing paper that said, hey, LLMs is dumb as hell. And it's taken off. People are interested and they're tautologically correct, which is the best kind of correct. But I don't know if their paper is really that useful. So the title of the paper is The Illusion of Thinking, and makes the claim that LLMs don't do any novel, new generative thought. They're just pattern matching based on the text that they've been trained on. Yeah, no shit. That's what LLMs do. They're just giant matrix multipliers and they they find patterns in the text that they've been trained on. But you know what? They've been trained on a hell of a lot of text and they do it really fast. And while they may not have a novel, if you're doing your PhD and you're trying to push the boundary of human knowledge, then an LLM might not be super helpful, although it might still be able to help you brainstorm or write syntax around the code that you're trying to write. But if you're everybody else, if you work for a living, LLMs are fucking useful. You know, they write code a hell of a lot faster than me, and it's not always great, but that's okay. I'm not always great either, and I'm pretty good at being skeptical and saying, "Hey, LLM, that's some bullshit. You need to rewrite that. It don't work. It's not doing what I want." And so, yeah, there's a tendency to go off the rails, or there's the ability to go off the rails, and there's maybe a limitation of not generating any actual new novel thought, and the mechanics that are going on in the back end is just a bunch of matrix multiplication and linear algebra. That's not the same as thinking. Maybe. I don't know what's going on in here. Maybe it's just a bunch of matrix multiplication. I know I can't matrix multiply by hand. I hope it's happening in the back of my head. But this feels like I went to Georgia Tech for undergrad, a notoriously technical school. They even got tech in their name. And I took a literature class, my required like literature and arts. And God damn it, if I didn't have an LLM at that time, back 100 years ago, to just go ahead and give some illusion of thought to write a whatever understanding of Shakespeare or whatever the hell novel I was supposed to read, that would have been great, you know? And that carries you up through undergrad and hell, even into most graduate programs. And if you're like me, a lot of the times the work that you're getting paid for is a lot less rigorous mentally than the work that you did in undergrad. So I'm going to go with the illusion of thinking for the expeditious win. And, who cares if it's thinking or not? Who cares if I generated some new novel thought, you know, Dr. Beecham, as an answer to this Shakespearean thing that people have been studying for the past 400 years? Who gives a shit if I can just regurgitate some illusion of thinking by, doing some matrix multiplication of all the texts that people have written about Shakespeare between then and now. Whatever. Put that on my paper, send it. That's good enough for me. If I'm a data analyst and I need to merge a few data sets and, run a little basic regression, find some correlation coefficient, an LLM's going to do it a hell of a lot faster than I have. I've done it a bunch of times and I can do it kind of fast. Not as fast as an LLM. So there's an illusion of thinking. Yep, Apple's way up there on their high horse, and good for them. They're above the LLM game. Anthropic is not above the LLM game because their big LLM, Claude, has actually written a rebuttal called The Illusion of the Illusion of Thinking. And I've actually already seen people write the illusion of the illusion of the illusion of thinking. And with LLMs and how easy it is to give some illusion of thought, we can make this recursive illusion of thinking go on ad infinitum. In fact, I encourage you, dear listener, to go ahead and submit a paper to archive on whatever, just search for the illusion of thinking and find what's been published recently that's the most illusions of, and add one more, the illusion of, in front of that. And then just feed it all into your favorite LLM or the one where have the most credits available, most tokens available, and ask it to, hey, can you write a rebuttal to this? Boom, publish. And we're sort of vindicating Apple and we're sort of mocking Apple at the same time. And that's the best thing. Yeah, you're right. You're technically right. But also, who gives a shit? And this is funny. Push it, send it, publish it. Okay, go ahead and publish those. Thank you, Costco Red Wine, for bringing this episode. All right, that's the first story. The second story, are you tired of the government spying on you? I know I am. They're listening to this podcast. In fact, they're my only listener. Hello, government. How you doing? You're watching me from here and here and here and here. And here, this is funny. I have an Apple device too. Shitting on Apple in the first story, but I got an Apple device right there. But it's an iPhone 1. I bought it 17 years ago, so they're probably I'm a net negative on their bottom line. So in your face, Apple. But your phone's still working good, so appreciate it. I'm never updating iOS either. Um, where were we? The government is spying on you, but you know what? Good news. You're spying on the government too. There's a fantastic story. So we don't really want to get into foreign affairs here because yours truly is quite opinionated, and that would take us away from the dirty dataness of the Dirty Data Show. But in foreign policy, there's a pizza tracker, which is a Twitter account, and what they do is track foot traffic around pizza places, namely Domino's, the most the most Costco red wine of pizza establishments. But there's one in Arlington. There's one really close, excuse me, to the Pentagon. And so what they do is they track foot traffic. Because would you believe it? The Pentagon is where the bulk of the U.S. national defense industry works. And when they work late, you know what they want to eat? They want to eat some fucking pizza, just like you, dear data engineer, data analyst, and whoever the hell you are. Dad. Hey, Dad. Actually, Kim Wimpy kind listener, listener number 001 of the Dirty Data podcast, forwarded this story. This story comes from our listener. If you've got a story with some dirty data in it, send it our way, and we will make sure to feature it on the Dirty Data Show. But this pizza shop tracker showed a spike in the activity near the Pentagon right before Israel's strikes on Iran last week. Of course, these were Israel strikes on Iran, not the U.S. strikes on Iran. U.S. is just, big brother, high in the sky, eye in the sky. It was just our missiles and our intelligence and our thumbs up that did everything. And so our Pentagon officials here, good American listeners, would you believe it? We needed to work late on those nights, on the night prior to the strike on Iran. And so the pizza shop tracker showed a huge spike in foot traffic around pizza parlors around the Pentagon. So I think this is just phenomenal. The government tracks us, spies on us, everything they can do. And it's good we're getting back at them a little bit. It's anonymous. It's like they declined their cookies, so we're not personal tracking. We're just tracking in aggregate. But what we've got is a bunch of defense industry goons staying out late, avoiding their personal responsibilities, making their spouse pick their kids up at swim practice and whatever, staying out late, eating pizza at the Pentagon. But it lets us know, hey, something's going on. The U.S. defense industry is working late today. And this has been pretty, obviously, with a good machine learning model, anytime we're making a prediction, we can see some correlation with no causation. And so we would like to do, I've not done a robust holdout sample of pizza shop tracker and whether or not spikes in activity around the Pentagon actually are predictive of increased U.S. defense activity around the world. Um, but that's okay. In this case, it coincides with what I want it to coincide with, so I just believe it. That's easy. When the model says what you want it to say, then you know it's right. That's how you know it's right. That's model validation 101. In this case, Pizza Tracker is tracking the pizza activity around the Pentagon and letting us know when the U.S. is up to no good or anything. It's just when we're up to stuff. When we're up to stuff, we eat pizza. Pizza correlates with stuff. Pizza causes stuff. Stuff causes pizza. I don't know. Stuffed crust pizza. That's the bottom line. Domino's stuffed crust pizza. This show is brought to you by Domino's stuffed crust pizza. All right, one last story. This is not a story per se, but this is just a little inside baseball for those of you we've had listeners reach out to ask about what it's like to be a data comedian. And so I do have a corporate gig tomorrow. I'm telling jokes for Advanced Auto Parts, Fortune 500 company, sells mufflers and oil filters and shit, headquartered right here in my backyard in Raleigh, North Carolina, the only Fortune 500 company that's headquartered in Raleigh. They got a data and analytics team of 100 or so people. And tomorrow I'm going to tell them jokes. And I just want to, maybe this little inside baseball could be interesting for folks. What is it like? How does a corporate comedian get a gig? How do they tell jokes? How do they meet people? And so I'll just give a little background on this story. I played a free show at a Chief Data and Analytics Officer conference back in Charlotte in December of last year. And at this show were a big audience, mostly Southeast folks, including a few folks from Advanced Auto Parts, including their Chief Data and Analytics Officer. He saw the show. He thought, "Hey, this is cool. This is pretty funny. If we ever have a good opportunity to tell some jokes, then we should invite him out." But corporations are busy and they have to do real work, blah, and order pizza and stay out late. It's a whole thing. But sometimes they want to celebrate. And so Advanced Auto Parts had an earnings report a couple months ago that was really good. The stock price went up. A lot of credit went to their digital transformation. And so they have this quarterly AI and data and analytics update that was coming up in this month. And so it's actually this week that their leadership reached out and said, "Hey, we got a spot. We're bringing people together. We don't have real work to do. We want to celebrate. We celebrate with comedy. Can you tell some jokes? So this is a little bit, usually I've got, a several week lead time to try to write some specific jokes. I've got, I've been doing comedy for about 2.5 years now. I've got got a type five if I need it. I've got a fun 15. I've done a 45-minute special. But what I really like to do is customize the gig a little bit. So there's sort of a blend. I've got probably 45 minutes total of of solid laughs that I know I can get laughs out of. But what I really want to do is integrate some specific jokes to advanced auto parts or whoever the corporate client may be. In this case, advanced auto parts. So we're doing 20 minutes. And so the way I sort of like to brainstorm this, especially on the tight timeline, is I think about advanced auto parts from the few perspectives that I can. One is the customer. What is it like as me as a customer if I go into just a retail advanced auto parts? And then two is a supplier. What if I'm like doing business with advanced auto parts, sort of selling them stuff, or relying on them as sort of my third party to help get me stuff. And then three is as an employee. What is it like to work there? What's my tech stack? What are my goals? What am I trying to do? Because you see, writing a joke is very different from writing stand-up comedy material. Joke is a one-off. It's one thing. There's one setup. There's one punchline. That's it. Stand-up comedy is storytelling. It's about flow. And if you can get in the perspective of an advanced auto parts customer or one of their business partners or suppliers or one of their employees, and you can walk through the types of things that they're thinking about, then I've got now 45 minutes worth of comedy that I'm confident in, that I know has gotten laughs, that I can try to pick out things in that 45 minutes that I can now insert into this story. So with Advanced Auto Parts, I am a customer, and this show is not brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. I'm not advocating you shop there. You could. It's cool. It's good. But just, go on Amazon, order whatever the cheapest shit you can. But I think, as a customer, you walk in and, the clerk recommends you something. That's recommendation engines. You've got a little bit on that. He's got to look up, where is the product here? That's inventory management. Maybe that's demand forecasting. I've got a bit on forecasting. So I've got this material. How can I weave these sort of known laughs into this new story? And that's how, in like a 2 or 3 day turnaround, that a corporate comedian can try to tailor known material, good material, into a new setting, a new context. It's like sort of like transfer learning. It's like we're sort of like large language models. And I'll give another little behind the scenes. Does ChatGPT write all my jokes for me? Do I use an LLM to write all my jokes? I absolutely use an LLM. It has never spit me out a joke that I have used, but it has been useful in the brainstorming session. What what do advanced auto parts customers care about? What do they go looking for? In digital transformation at advanced auto parts, what how does machine learning play a role? And brainstorm 40 ideas. That's something that a large language model can do a hell of a lot faster than me, even if it's just an illusion of thinking. It gives me a nice bullet point list, and then I've got sort of this vector mapping in my head that I can point some of these topics to these things that I know give me laughs. And so, of course, I'm telling you this with some confidence because the show is actually tomorrow. And if you're listening to this or watching this, reach out and ask me how the Advanced Auto Parts show went. If it went well, I will answer you. And of course, if you're looking for a corporate comedian to come in and tell jokes to your company, then let me know, preferably more than 2 days before the show. But if it's 2 days before the show, go ahead, because I got a system in place and I can get some jokes ready for you. These are our stories for today. Thank you, dear listener. This has been the Dirty Data Show, episode 6. I will see you next week if I don't get replaced by AI. And thank you.